Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This is She Loves Thee. And as you know, Jackson State just had their pro day this past week. And so I wanted to come today and just basically go over Jackson State pro day and bring context to the situation that was floating on Twitter regarding some of the players not being able to do position drills. And I basically wanted to go through the pro day and have a discussion about why it's so important for Jackson State to continue to have this pro day and for the smaller schools to attend the pro day. Hey, Mr. Walker. Thank you for tuning in. If you would please go ahead and like the stream, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. So first of all, I wanted to talk about, as we all know, why is pro day so important? So pro days are important, of course, for NFL draft prospects who were not able to attend the NFL Combine. And it's also important for draft prospects that maybe they messed up at the combine or they weren't invited to a senior bowl. They're able to do a pro day, and it's usually located on their campus, which is more familiar to them. And so I wanted to start by talking about, hey, Brother Bakari, how you doing? Um, why Jackson State and the joint pro day? Well, as we know, um, Coach Prime indicated that he wanted to do a pro day for all of the SWAC. That was the beginning of what he wanted to do. And when he was trying to put that together, for some reason, they told him, you can't do a SWAC pro day. You can only do the schools in Mississippi. So last year, that is what happened. Jackson State hosted the pro day, and all of the surrounding schools attended. So, why is it important for Jackson State to host this pro day and invite Mississippi Valley, Delta State, Mississippi College, Alcorn State? Why is it important? So, it's important because Jackson State is a centralized location, and we have the biggest airport in the state of Mississippi. So most of these scouts that come into Mississippi, they are going to fly into Jackson, Mississippi. Um, Jackson State is the only HBCU to host a small school pro day. So usually it is FBS schools that will host a pro day, and they will allow smaller schools to come to their school. So in South Carolina, the small schools go to the University of South Carolina. In North Carolina, the smaller schools go to North Carolina State. In Tennessee, the smaller schools go to UT. And in Illinois, smaller schools will go and they'll attend Northwestern University. So for Jackson State to be able to be an FCS level program and be able to host this pro day, it's really big collectively for not only HBCUs, but for smaller schools as well. And the reason why I say that is because most of the pro days that are being held that have joint pro days, they're at the FBS level. I wanted to point out that a lot of athletes were saying we need our own, we need to have our own pro day. So the problem with smaller schools scheduling their own pro day is that a lot of times you will not have as many scouts turn out. So if you can get all of the smaller schools at one centralized location, the turnout is better. And I also would like to point out that I'm going to go ahead and pull that up so you guys know that I'm not just pulling out this information from nowhere. So this is at the NFL.com website. They have pro day schedules, and they put this out on March 6th. And so this just gives you a pro day circuit of all the places that they planned on attending. And as you can see, on the 27th of March, they were going to have a pro day at Southern Miss. And on March 28th, they were going to have a pro day at Mississippi State. So what happened is that it was a long day for most of the scouts. They started off with a pro day at USM, and that's in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. So that's why Jackson State's pro day was like towards the middle of the day. So the scouts were in Hattiesburg, Mississippi in the morning. Then they went to Jackson, where they went to Jackson State, and they were able to see Jackson and Delta State, Alcorn, Mississippi College, and Mississippi Valley. And then afterwards, they had to go to Starkville. So basically, the bigger Mississippi schools have their pro day already on this NFL website. And so Jackson State was able to sneak in between. And we were able to grab enough scouts. That's why we had such a good turnout, because the scouts were already in Mississippi. So for them to be able to stop in Jackson, it's like, okay, we're going to stop in Jackson, and we have the ability to see roughly 40 athletes. So I was able to gather some information, and I wanted to make sure that everybody knows that some of the information that was being put out there with regard to favoritism towards Jackson State, or that, Jackson State is getting the better end of the stick. I wanted to explain to you why that just simply isn't true. So basically, the scouts, when they come to pro day, there are certain things that everybody is going to be tested on. So all 40 of the players were tested on or measured for their height, their weight, their hand, arm, and wingspan, the bench press, the vertical jump, the broad jump, the 40-yard dash, a 20-yard short shuttle, and I'm not sure if they had the 3-cone agility drill at Jackson State, but that's another one of the tests. So everybody was made known that this is what pro day includes. So if you are an athlete and you've never been on the scouts radar, they're going to look for you to have all of those measurables, and it has to jump off the charts. So basically, if for some reason you do not exceed or meet that quota, they're going to automatically disqualify you. And what I mean by that is, if you are an O lineman and you don't meet a certain amount of bench presses, they're going to basically disqualify you for the day, and you won't continue any further. And the reason why that is to save time. Let me go ahead and move this out the way so you can see it. So this is just basically explaining all of the things that they go over, which is the 40-yard dash. Now, they also clock like how fast you are at 10 yards, how fast you are at 20 yards, and then the 40-yard. And they'll split it up. And that's just basically to see what your acceleration is. The bench press, that's very important, and that's when athletes are asked to lift 225 pounds as many times as possible. So if you're an O-line, you're expected to lift a certain amount. If you're defense, like Aubrey Miller, which I do not have the exact number for Aubrey, but he did a really good job on his bench press. And then, of course, we have the vertical jump and the broad jump. So these are all just like testing that they have to do. And from what I was told by a source on the ground is it took about 3 hours to do 40 athletes. And they did all of these various measurements. So after they completed those measurements, there's something called position drills. And in order for you to be asked to do the position drills, basically only one scout has to say your name and say, "Hey, I want to see how how this person it does in his position drills," or "I want to see more on how this athlete reacts to certain situations." So this is kind of like getting a call back. You're getting a call to extend your time. And this is where the confusion comes in at, and this is where a lot of people got upset. And we saw on Twitter, there was a lot of athletes that were very upset because they were not asked to continue to do the position drills. So this isn't something that Jackson State has any control of. This is not something that Jackson State said, well, we want to make sure that our guys get seen and that the other players don't. This is something that literally a scout just has to say, I want to see Isaiah Bolden, um, how he is in coverage, or I want to see how Dallas Daniels reacts to certain types of throws. So this is where a lot of things got kind of sticky, and a lot of people were upset. But I would just like to clarify and clear Jackson State's name to make sure that people understand that Jackson State had absolutely nothing to do with that. It was basically the scouts indicating that they wanted to see certain players do more things. And you have to realize that outside of Jackson State players, there were 2 players that were asked by the scouts to do position work. Isaiah Bolden, Dallas Daniels, Tony Gray, and Aubrey Miller. They are all have been seen by some of these scouts at Dallas Daniels was in the East West Shrine Bowl. Tony Gray was in the HBCU Legacy Bowl. Isaiah Bolden was in the NFLPA Bowl. And Aubrey Miller was in the Senior Bowl, of which Jim Nagy was actually on campus at Jackson State. So they all competed in Senior Bowls. So what does that mean? That means that there might be some additional question marks that scouts have about these individuals. They've already seen them. And then Edwin Moore, I'm going to go ahead and pull up I'm sorry about that, you guys. I'll go ahead and pull it up so that you'll know what I'm talking about. So this individual, he is a Alcorn State alum. And he said, let me make sure you guys can see this. And it just kind of blew up on Twitter. Yesterday was really frustrating and hard on the mental. We always get the short end of everything, even though we didn't get a chance to show what we can do. I'm proud of y'all boys. Blessed to call you my brothers. So this is in regards to not being able to further do position work. So my advice going forward is to get something of our own. It'll only grow if you promote your players. No one is going to care otherwise. Too much talent in Lorman to get, excuse my language, shitted on like we did yesterday. So basically, they were making it seem like uh Jackson State was being getting favorited in the pro day, which is not the case. And then there was another tweet, which I can't find it. Basically, it was saying that it's not fair. Oh, okay. Why were there exclusive drills at an inclusive event? So that's the question that was asked. And basically, they were saying you're supposed to elevate all athletes, give them their shot, and don't do what the system has been doing to these programs for so long. And the problem with this narrative is it's like trying to separate us. And that's why it's good to be informed on what it is that actually takes place at these pro days and how they work. And someone said SWAC needs an official pro day or two and have all teams represented, each HBCU play an active role, and get all results posted and marketed so everyone can see what the athletes can do, all programs. So basically, that's going to cause division. If you think that Jackson State invited athletes from Alcorn State and Mississippi Valley only to say, okay, y'all sit here and watch us. That's absolutely not what took place. Absolutely not what took place. After they do their drills, the scouts, all a scout has to do is say, I want to see more of Dallas Daniels. Boom, you get to do position work. That's it, and that's all. It has absolutely nothing to do with Jackson State. And that is why I think it's so important that we discuss this, because I don't want for people to say, well, I'm not going to I don't want to do it with them, or for smaller schools to say, well, we don't want to come to Jackson State's pro day. We're just going to have our own. And that's another thing that we need to point out. Doug Williams did not let all seniors compete in pro day for a reason. And that is correct. And the reason why you don't want to let them compete if they're not up to par is because they're just going to go ahead. If you're not bench pressing a certain amount, you're going to automatically be disqualified. And you have to think about it. If you're going to an FCS school, they're really wanting you to be top notch, jumping off the charts. And I found something. I'm hopefully I'm still have the pulled up. There's something that a coach can request, and that's like a certification or something like that. And what that basically is, I'm going to get the actual name for it. But what that basically involves is you have scouts go ahead and measure and tell you, what are things you need to work on, or if you're undersized. So last year we were able to see Aubrey Miller participating. And what I would probably say is that when Aubrey Miller in that documentary, when he was participating with the scouts before he actually decided to actually play another year, what that is, half of that was probably them wanting to do it for a show, meaning it was going to be on TV. So they were allowing him to participate. The other half of that is that you are allowed to have your athletes measure, do their measurables, and then they'll tell the athlete what it is that they need to work on. So if they're undersized, what are some things that they need to do? And that's one of the advantages that Aubrey Miller was able to do, is he was able to get measured, and he knew, okay, I'm undersized, so I know that I have to do X, Y, and Z to get to the NFL. And yeah, so this is Isaiah Bolden. Of course, he was a jump out just because his measurables are already off the charts. So the measurables for his side, like his height, his hands, just his size overall, jumped off the charts. And Mr. Walker says, that's crazy. The scouts know that most of the NFL talent came from JSU and FAMU these last 2 years. Also, it's not to knock other programs. It's just of measurables. And that's why it's important. It says in 2018, Alcorn had a pro day, 0 scouts came. So, and that's not a knock at Alcorn at all. Alcorn. That's not a knock at them at all. Basically, it's how far do scouts have to travel to get to Alcorn? So this is why I wanted to make sure that everybody knows that it was not Jackson State trying to pull a card on anyone. It was not Jackson State, treating anybody unfairly. And I'm going to advocate for Jackson State to continue to host this pro day, because as I spoke earlier, no other HBCU is holding a joint pro day. And usually these pro days, what happens is smaller schools have to attend a larger schools. So let's go over that one more time so we can see why this pro day at Jackson State is so important and why it needs to continue. South Carolina smaller schools go to USC. North Carolina smaller schools go to North Carolina State. Tennessee schools go to UT, and Illinois small schools go to Northwestern. Now, Florida A&M, I can point that out. They actually do have their own pro day. And of course, as we know, there it is right there listed right next to Florida State. So Florida A&M is right across the street from Florida State. So they're able to have their own pro day, because what do the pros have to do? They literally have to go right across the street. So is there something that can be done with regard to being able to have Bethune-Cookman go to Florida A&M so that they can be seen as well? I'm not sure. But what I will say is this: if a player does not have a pro day at their school, they have to either be invited, or sometimes they can get a scout to call that bigger school and ask for that player to attend. That's how that works. So what do you guys think? Me personally, I think that they need to keep pro day at Jackson State. Coaches need to set what the requirements are. If you know that you could be looking to declare for the NFL draft, we can go over some of that, and to make sure that your players are ready. Because someone said Texas Southern had 8 scouts. Should Texas Southern and Prairie View have a joint pro day with other smaller schools in Texas? It's just when you have more schools attending, you're going to have more scouts to show up. And if it's a centralized location, it's just better. So that's the reason why Jackson State was able to have 27 NFL scouts there representing, and also one from the Canadian League. And so let's go over Dallas Daniels. So from what I was told, one of the big reasons why people were upset is because Dallas Daniels was asked to do some position work with our quarterback, Jason Brown. And if you have not yet went, we have a Jackson State athlete. He's currently at Jackson State on the football team. His name is the Kobe Paul. I'll show you guys that. And I implore you, after or later on, that you go check out his YouTube. It's the Kobe Paul. And the name of the video is JSU Pro Vibes. And when you look at, the video, you're going to see, of course, all of the different various players that were playing around. But basically, Jason Brown was asked to come here to do some position work with Dallas Daniels, like throwing him the ball. And that is why Mr. Martin said that the HBCU All-Star game is on. Is it on CBS? I think it's on CBS. So yeah, make sure that you watch this video, because you're going to be able to see what type of stuff that they have. And so this is Dallas Daniels, of course. So Dallas Daniels participated in the East-West Shrine Bowl, and from what I read, he did a really good job at the in the East-West Shrine Bowl. So when I looked at Kobe Paul's YouTube video, there was a scout there, and he was like throwing him the ball like in a 360 manner. So he just basically kept throwing him the ball, like high, low, in the middle, low again, high, and he just kept doing it. And I don't know if that's maybe trying to see how good his peripheral vision is, and how quick he is with responding to the ball. But that's basically what the scout was doing. And it was a specific scout that was doing it. So what does that mean? That means that scout has probably been following Dallas Daniels, maybe saw him in the East-West Shrine Bowl. He is a little bit under as far as like his height, but they saw something in him. So that particular scout wanted to see what his work was like, so that when he makes these presentations with the team about Dallas Daniels, then he'll know. And they also had him throwing some balls or catching some balls. I wanted to show Claudin Sharilis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that wrong or right. I'm not for sure. But he was an Alcorn student athlete, and he was asked to continue with regard to outside of doing just his drills. So what does that mean? If you see, he ran an excellent 40-yard time, a nice broad jump, a great vertical jump, and bench press reps. There was over 40 student athletes that were at the pro day, and you're only going to find a couple of student athletes posting these stats. Now, why would student athletes not post the stats after pro day? Were they not good? So you have to look at that, which is why isn't everybody posting their stats? And he was receiving a lot of praise on Twitter, so I'm guessing that he did perform well. But that's what you want to see. Claudin needs to have all 20. If we can have all 32 NFL scouts there at our pro day, and Alcorn and Mississippi Valley State has the chance for them to see him, and versus not having any in Alcorn or only having 8 or 10, that's good. And that's another thing that we'll talk. Thank you so much, Mr. Garrett. That's something that we're going to talk about, which is getting an NFL certified agent to represent you. And what are some things that players need to do? And I also wanted to talk a little bit about Tony Gray, because Tony Gray, he was able to increase his draft stock at Pro Day, which was interesting that this particular tweet came out because, as a lot of us know, Tony Gray did not get that much playing time at Jackson State University. And he decided to declare for the NFL draft. I don't know if I saw him sign to an agent, but this is the tweet that came up, and it said, Jackson State offensive tackle Tony Gray had a great pro day and gained interest from the Bears, Colts, Raiders, and Jets, per source. So Tony Gray, who did not get that much play during his last season at Jackson State, he was able to perform at the HBCU Legacy Bowl, of which at the HBCU Legacy Bowl, he was able to do the HBCU Combine. So the scouts saw him there. Then they saw him play at the HBCU Legacy Bowl. And now at Pro Day, they asked him to do some position work or some drills, extra drills outside of that. And let me see if I can pull that up so that we can look at what that drill work was.
TV.
So that's a benefit for being able to have a pro day, and have that many people there to watch. You might not have even been on any radar, or they might not have seen you, and they're able to see you do your measurables, and your measurables and size are good. And you might get a call to whether it's to go to the camp. They're showing interest. So that's good for Tony Gray, but that's also good for other players as well. So I'm going to go over the takeaways from Pro Day, and then I'm just going to open it up so that people can come and share if they want to share what their thoughts are, or what type of ideas they have. What are the takeaways from Jackson State Pro Day? Number 1 is training hard in that off season. If you plan on declaring for the NFL, declare as early as possible. I'll give an example. Maurice Washington, and he was playing for Grambling. He was a great running back. He declared for the NFL really late. So the reason why, if you're planning on going to the NFL, you want to forego your eligibility. The reason why you want to declare as early as possible is because you want to be able to get invited to some of those Senior Bowl games. And if you declare too late, you're going to miss out on that opportunity to go to some of those bowl games. Another takeaway is to sign with a certified NFL agent. Why do you want to sign with a certified NFL agent? Because they know what it takes to get you where you need to go. They're going to get you those interviews. They're going to send you to the best training facilities or link you up with someone who's going to be able to train you. Social media is virtually free. So invest in a social media team, catch the highlights and the film. I will say this. I didn't see any film, even if it was just the smaller schools that were there, even if it was just your student athletes being measured and doing the 40-yard dash and them doing the drill work. Those are things that you need for your social media. If you have that type of stuff for your student athletes, letting them know there is a pathway for you to be seen. We do have exposure here. Come to us. We're going to make sure that you go to an NFL pro day. Those are important. And I also wanted to point out, I'm going to open up so that people can join. I wanted to point this out because I found that it was really interesting that this is happening, seeing as we had Coach Prime bring it up that he wanted to have something for all of the SWAC, and he was told that he couldn't do it. So this is interesting. So the Big 12 Pro Day, debuting in spring of 2024 at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, Texas, will be the first ever conference-wide pro day, replacing and advancing traditional on-campus pro days. So this was something that Coach Prime was trying to do last year. He wanted for it to be all of SWAC coming to the pro day. And they told him no. And now it looks like they are actually planning on doing a pro day. And the NFL is partnering with them to do it. And it says the Big 12 and NFL announced a partnership to launch the Big 12 Pro Day, a reimagined pro day experience with state-of-the-art medical and player skills assessment designed to maximize the student-athlete prospect experience. So this is just another mechanism for people to make money. Basically, there's going to be sponsorships, and of course, you're going to have all of the businesses out there that deal with nutrition and gyms and all type of stuff will be out there. But that's what they plan on doing. So what Coach Prime wanted to do, and they told him no, Big 12 and NFL have made it a Big 12 Pro Day, and it's going to be on NFL Network. So why can't we have a SWAC Pro Day sponsored by NFL? I don't know. If I was the SWAC, I would be pressuring for us to have a pro day as well. That's not fair that just Big 12 gets to do it. We were going to actually do it without the NFL, and we were told no. So, anybody have any thoughts, suggestions with regard to, or maybe you feel like Jackson State wasn't being fair, and maybe you feel like the message that I was giving out, maybe you guys felt that was wrong. But I just wanted people to know that it was not Jackson State that was purposely excluding players out of the position drills. That was basically something that the scouts vote on. They want to see certain players do extra work or how they perform in certain types of situations. and that's why certain athletes were asked to continue. SWAC players need to live in the weight room. Why haven't the SWAC and MEAC married? No. MEAC and SWAC needs to stay separate. Somebody said the All-Star game is opposite of the NCAA Women's Basketball National Championship. I didn't even know that. What championship? LSU is playing right now? They're not playing right now. Oh, yes, they are. LSU 27-22. I need to watch that just because I want to see what the hype is on this Caitlin character. They said that she's the female Michael Jordan. So it doesn't look like anybody else has anything else to say. No rebuttals or nothing. But anyway, that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that Jackson State did not. She's the female Steph Curry. Okay. Caitlin is too legit. And you know what? I don't really know anything about Iowa. I just happened to see on Twitter they were saying that she was a very good player. And so I'm intrigued, but that's a big, tall order. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for just coming and listening to me basically break that news. We want to, of course, say good luck to all of the NFL prospects and also the ones that were not able to do all of their position work. We know you guys can still get signed as an undrafted free agent. Would a joint pro day be worth it for JSU and FAMU? I think that Jackson State has the best location out of the SWAC. Just because any scout that's coming to Mississippi State or USM or Old Miss, they're all going to, I think they all come to Jackson, Mississippi as the base. I think a joint pro day would be worth it for the SWAC in totality. If we're talking about giving all of the SWAC players a chance to be seen by the pros, the coaches are going to have to be a little bit more strict with regard to who they allow to come to pro day. So what I mean by that is if you're a coach and you have somebody and you know that they're not going to be able to do, if they're a offensive lineman and you know that they're not going to be able to do 50 bench press reps of 225, 15 or more, maybe I think it's like 20. You need to do at least 20. So if you know that the student athlete is not up to par with their bench press or then there's no reason to send them to pro day because they're going to get upset when you know that they're not up to par. Uh-oh. Diamond says they're doing illegal screens for her and she gets away with pushing off all the time. So and we have an alert, for North Texans. We're under a tornado watch and severe thunderstorm warning, so please be safe. Hey Doc, how you doing? So I think that if we are to have a SWAC pro day, that it should definitely be done at Jackson State. And that's not just to say, oh, I'm a Jackson State alum, I'm everything Jackson State. No, the location of Jackson State, the fact that all of the scouts have to fly into Jackson anyway, and um, all of the players would be able to come. But the big but and the big if is your student athletes have to be up to par. If you know that they're not going to be able to, Doc says that he is at work and under a tornado. Be safe, Doc. If they're not up to par, don't send them. Do not send them. If you know that your players are not going to be up to par, then do not send them to participate, because what's going to end up happening is they're going to get upset. So what happened is I actually looked up an article on NFL Draft Diamonds, and it was talking about the NFL Pro Day rules. And it says, imagine if you're a Florida A&M football player trying to make the league, you show up to your pro day and 0 NFL scouts bother to show up. That is not the scouts' problem, but rather the coach's problem. Let me explain. I talked to several NFL scouts who said that FAMU never had a pro day registered through the league, which is why no one showed up. The coaches dropped the ball, and who suffered? The kid. This is not the only problem. Many kids are signing with agents who are not NFL certified, and I've been saying it for years, and I will continue to say it. If they are not certified in the NFL, then do not expect them to do a very good job at getting you a shot in the NFL. So, what I would say, it looks like FAMU was able to correct that problem, because FAMU is the only HBCU that I saw that was actually registered with the NFL. In when you go to the website and you look up the NFL Pro Day draft schedule, FAMU is the only HBCU that actually is registered. So what that means is whatever paperwork that they had to submit to make sure that they were on the roster, they're on there. That's the only one. So Jackson State was able to get lucky, and we were able to squeeze in our pro day in between the rest of the Mississippi schools. So between Mississippi State, Southern Miss, because Southern Miss is on here on the 27th. On the 28th is Mississippi State. On the 29th is Mississippi. So we were able to squeeze in there. So what I would like to see moving forward is I would like to see Jackson State follow behind Florida A&M and actually register so that you can be on the pro day schedule. And of course, maybe that will bring out, we had 27 this year and one from the Canadian Football League. So maybe if we're able to place ourselves into the actual NFL website so that they know that Jackson State is, this is when our pro day is, we might be able to get the other, what was it, 5 teams that didn't show up, they might be able to come. And that would be all 32, but we also might be able to get XFL. Who else is out there? CFL, all of the different leagues, we could get them to come as well. So I would think overall, and from what I heard from a source on the ground, that overall it was a great pro day for Jackson State. And of course, if we have a couple of players drafted out of Jackson State, or even the young man from Alcorn, if he's drafted or they're signed, that's going to say, okay, a they have talent out there at Jackson State. So what does that mean? That means that they'll come back. They finally made an offensive foul call on her pushing off, something she's been doing all year. Yeah, so this is going to be very important year for Niles Gaddy. And once again, if you get a chance, go to look at Kobe Paul's video, just because you'll see a lot of football players out there. There's even student athletes that came from another school. I'm not sure if they were a high school or if it was a college team, but imagine them being able to see 27 teams represented by the NFL on Jackson State campus. It's a great look, not just for Jackson State. So thank you all for tuning into my live. Let me see. Oh, Doc's on here, so maybe he'll have something to say. Hey, Doc.
Hey, what's up? What's good? What's good?
How you
Uh,
doing? You
man,
you
I'm
under
good.
a tornado watch?
Yeah, I'm under the tornado watch and I'm working right now. My shop is kind of slow, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
watching all the little shoppers go back and forth. Got the women's Final Four here, and then Taylor Swift concert is tonight. So, so they out and about. Um, but what you said about as far as the pro day goes, um, I believe that uh, I feel that we need to be uh, actually, you know what I'm saying, what you said about how Florida FAMU did it with actually going to the NFL and saying this is our actual pro day, come in, coaches come down, and just put it out there, put the word. Uh, and I also like what you said. You said it yesterday. If you ain't going, you know what I'm saying, you're an offensive lineman, you ain't gonna bench press no more than 20 to 25 for 225. I don't need you there. I don't need you there. You just wasting my time. If you, like
I
you
think
said,
they
you
said that Doug Williams would not allow. He's coach, and he would just tell them, no, you're not participating in our pro day if
mhm.
he felt like they were not up to par.
But see, and that's the thing too about the coaches. Like a coach Doug Williams, like a head coach would know his players. You know what I'm saying? A head coach would know their players. A position coach would know his players. So if you're not gonna put in that work, then I don't need you out there. That's just plain and simple. If you're not gonna put that work in, I don't need you out there. Uh, if you're a wide receiver, you run a 4.48, yeah, you might want to change positions. You might want to change positions, my guy. Uh, if you just out there to BS, yeah, I don't want you out there because you wasted. Not only if you wasted your own time, but you wasted the time of the people, the other kids that's actually out there trying to get looked at by these teams. So um, it's a it's things like that that these young men gotta understand. They gotta learn to understand. Like
It's
this
a
is
business. It's a
it's
business.
a business and
So
it's a job interview.
what do you think about Valley or Alcorn having their own pro day in response to them thinking that there was some type of favoritism going on with the position drills? What did you think about that? Like, do you think they should try to separate it, or should we continue to have it at Jackson State?
I feel like we should continue to have it at Jackson State, but it needs to be a tight run ship, and it should be no favoritism on all boards. I think we should be able to do that. Um, um, because like it's a centralized location. Like you said, it's in Jackson. All the NFL scouts had to come to fly into Jackson. to get over here to the university, and it just had to be, to me, it just had to be better read, for the next time around. So I'm thinking that TC and AD Ashley Robinson gonna look into that, and they'll
But I
basically
don't
try
think
to correct that.
I think like Ed said, he disagrees on certain positions. Matt Casal didn't play at snap, didn't play a snap at USC, but got drafted due to his pro day. If they got insane measurables or arm talent, but didn't let them participate. So
Okay,
Ed,
yeah, I can get that.
That's what I was trying to tell you though, is that it is not Jackson State did not say we'll let you go do all of your measurables, but then when it gets to position work, that's for Jackson State only. Jackson State did not say that. That's not how that works. And so that's what I need for people to understand. When after everybody does their measurables, the scouts are able to say, I want to look at X, Y, and Z. They just have to say their name.
Right,
And that's it. Like, that's all that they have to do.
right. I mean,
Like
that's cool.
it's not about like someone keeping the players from playing. So there was about roughly 40 players and they did the testing numbers in 3 hours.
Hmm.
And then after they do the testing, the scouts are able to like, it's almost like taking a vote on who they want to see proceed with drills.
Hmm.
So it says when we have a large workout, they take a vote on who will get to advance to do position drills after all the testing is finished. If one scout wants to see more from a specific prospect, then that player is included. If
Right,
nobody has interest in that in a player, then their day is over at that point. It only takes one person to say, I want to see this player do more, and that's it. It says that this was explained to players before the day began that they were not promised position work. There were 2 other players from other schools who scouts wanted and coaches wanted to see more of, and they got to keep going.
right,
So this has absolutely nothing to do with not letting them continue. It's up to the scouts.
right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. To like you said, if you know you just gonna be out there just bullshitting around, then you shouldn't just be out there at all. Like, but it's something that I think Edwin said in the comment. He said that scouts would rather talk to the position coach and the strength and conditioning coach because they the ones other than, I mean, those are the two that have the actual eye on on the players. Because the head coach is pretty much more of the CEO. He's the, I hate to use this word, but he's more of the overseer of the program. Um, and he can be doing a lot of, he can be doing a lot of things, but those position coaches and that strength and conditioning coach is the one that would, you know, they're the ones that see those kids like almost every day.
Right. And then you have to think about it like the scouts have seen Aubrey Miller, um, Dallas Daniels, Isaiah Bolden, Tony Gray. They've seen them at either their prospective bowls, that's where they would have seen them. And then they've probably seen their film. So at Pro Day at this point, either you're trying to improve upon your numbers as far as what they see. They want to see either a progression, especially since you've had off season where you're not in school. So if anything, we're going to see, did you get faster? Are you stronger? You know, have you been able to keep up or exceed your numbers in the time that we didn't see you? So were you able to gain weight? These are things that the scouts are going to be looking at, because once school is over, which for all of those players, it's over for them, they have to train and you have to have the diligence to do it on your own. Nobody is going to hold you accountable. You have to hold yourself accountable at that point. So that's
You
what
know
they're
the
looking for.
thing that I'm liking right now, that I'm liking from Nugget, is that he's taking initiative upon himself to put his name out there, to put his face out there, like going on the NFL network, talking to those guys up there,
You know,
on that network.
that was probably his agent. Well, I mean, of course
Right.
they might have asked him, but that's one of the benefits of having a decent quality agent, is they're going to
Right.
be able to help you, as well as getting those eyes on you and getting that type of public relations.
Yeah, because his what he did at the HBCU combine, it was phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? Like, we knew he could do all that stuff. Now the play on the field is different, because I feel like he got the raw end of the deal with said coach, and he didn't get himself to be showcased out there like that. But when he out there on that field, you know what I'm saying, to me, he he's like the best all around player out there on the field.
Y'all are cutting up on this LSU game. I think I need to be tuned in. Somebody said on Twitter, come on LSU, beat some seasoning into these folks." I'm missing it.
It must, I might have to leave work early. Yeah,
Ooh,
prevent.
they getting their butts beat to sleep.
What's the
Good
score?
Lord. 52. Good Lord, they getting they. Why they getting beat that bad? Whoa. Why is it 52-40? We need
In
for
what
them to
quarter?
get that. Second quarter.
Oh shoot!
Are they playing defense?
No wonder why it's a little bit quieter in the mall.
I wonder if let me make this real small. I wonder if they'll flag me. It's real, real small, y'all. Nugget was the best all around corner on the team, and coach tried to way too many factors in his playing time, and that's where Nugget's mental health kicked in. I think that for a lot of players, that mental health was messed up. Anyway,
No,
I'm getting ready to go watch the game.
I'm gonna go ahead and watch it on my
It looked
head
like
while
it looks like they trying to make a comeback. Iowa is basically Clark and the Temptations. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. Man, why are they saying that it's Clark and the Temptations?
it's.
So
Oh
anyway,
man,
yeah, we need to go. Who is that? Who is that? Is that the Carson girl with the orange hair?
yeah, that's Jasmine Carson.
Oh, okay. They need to get her. If Clark's already on her third foul,
They got to get her out the game.
I mean,
Got
it's not even the half.
you got to get her out the game.
Why is the what, y'all? All right, let me get off of here because I want to watch the game, but I don't know.
I'll talk to you later.
All right, it says it is halftime. Keep going. Where is it halftime at? Oh,
You
okay.
probably
Oh, okay. They're saying that it's getting ready to be halftime. Ooh, they stole it, boy. Who is that? Look. Oh, good Lord. They getting beat to sleep. Listen, it's funny because LSU is, we want LSU to lose if they're playing a HBCU. But then, if we have to choose for somebody to root for, I guess we're going to go ahead and we're going to root for LSU, right? Because they beat South Carolina.
They really wanted to play South Carolina again because they want to run that fade back from earlier this season.
Who wanted to get a fade? Oh, okay, I get it. I really don't think they wanted to see them again. I'm just trying to be honest. I don't think they wanted to see them again.
No. But y'all have a good one. I got people in the store.
Y'all be safe. Ooh, right. Dang. Did y'all see that buzzer? Was that a buzzer beater? Good Lord. She is not playing with them. Did y'all see that buzzer beater? Oh my goodness. Look at how many LSU people are in the house. It is a packed house there. Dang, how did she do that? Carson said, Clark who? She must be the Kryptonite. If Clark is Superman, she must be Kryptonite. They ain't studying. Clark who? Jasmine has 21 points. She is 5 for 5 in 3-point shooting field. Oh my goodness. She's 5 for 5. She don't miss. She has not missed a 3-point. LSU looks like a HBCU. Iowa looks like a PWI. Kim Mulkey said, all my players are black. We got some seasoning going on. Did they get him a crab boil over there? Good Lord, she don't miss. She didn't even do. Those people are just sitting there. Them folks were just sitting there sad as all get out. It says she's not even a starter. Where they was hiding her at? Where were they hiding her at? All right, y'all. I am getting ready to get off. I got to go get my son his little Easter eggs for school tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in. So spread the word. Jackson State, Alcorn, Mississippi College, Mississippi Valley, Delta State. We all need to continue to have the pro day at Jackson State. It says Kim Mulkey recruits with the seafood buffet. Carson has not missed today. 7 of 7 and 5 and 5 from 3. Oh, I might, if I go pick up these eggs real quick, I might do a live chat for that NCAA championship game. But anyway, y'all have a good night or good evening. Thank you. And Mr. Moore is letting you know that there's severe thunderstorms until 4 p.m., which it's 3:39 in Texas right now. So that means an additional, or 3:40. So an extra 20 minutes and y'all should be off. Everybody have a good evening. Oh, let me play some Jackson State music before we leave out.